So there's been a running joke on Twitter for a minute that Queen Naija is responsible for every bad thing that has ever happened. If you drop your food on the floor, Queen Naija was responsible. It's been a running joke, but recently Queen Naija posted on Twitter today, and she talked about how a lot of the harassment and stuff that she receives online would, push folks to the brink of suicide. And she said that luckily she's built for it and it doesn't get to her like that. And I want to talk about her past colorist comments, her so-called apology, and where she is at now. Is it changed behavior or is it just being silent? Let's talk about it. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. So what's going on, you all? I want to talk about Queen Naija and all of the things that's been going on over the last couple of years and recently the last couple of months. And it's been just a lot. It's been a lot. And I recently saw her, post on Twitter. She had this to say. She said, y'all are the group of people who would drive someone into committing suicide. It's all fun and games though. Good thing I was built for this. So somebody responded to the tweet and said, what about all the dark-skinned black women you bullied, shamed, and racially abused? Did you care about them committing suicide? Answer me quickly, you racist. Well, they were straight to the point with that. They were straight to the point. So I'm sure everybody knows about Queen Naija. Some videos that she did, and she called dark-skinned black women nappy-headed, and she talked about her being, so-called bullied in high school for being light-skinned and having, a particular hair texture. And the stuff that she was saying, it was colorist. It definitely was colorist. It was definitely texturism. And it's, it goes into this whole narrative of, light-skinned folks talking about their experiences of colorism. And I'm like, great, that's not colorism. Light-skinned people do not experience colorism. It's not a reverse type of situation. It's just the equivalent of you saying that, oh, a white person saying that a black person can be racist towards them. It just does not work like that. Oppression goes down. It goes down. What Queen Naija was experiencing was prejudice. For me, that's what I'm thinking. Like the stuff that she's talking about, what she experienced in high school, and dark-skinned black girls and stuff. It was messed up for the stuff they were saying, but it's not a systematic thing where a light-skinned person is experiencing all this type of oppression. Dark-skinned girls experience that systematically. So, she was telling her story, she was doing her stuff, and she just didn't have the language to talk about her experience. And she responded, she reacted. And she has apologized and talked about this, and she has had a really, really good career doing in the music biz. Like she's been one of the few artists who've been able to, black female artists, to be able to have a YouTube channel and have some really good music and be able to do the things she's doing. I've actually met her. She's sweet in person. I don't have any with her, no connections or anything with her. And I can recognize, looking at some of the past stuff that she said, it definitely was colorist. It definitely was colorist. It was definitely giving texturism. But I think what happens with celebrities like Queen Naija, when they get called out for past stuff, even though they've already talked about it, their response sometimes overtake what they have said in the past. So this is a response that she said to the person who tweeted. She said, I never bullied anyone a day in my life. I was speaking on people who bullied me. I used a term to describe hair, not skin, which offended some people. I apologize and addressed it. Y'all are going to keep bringing that up forever. I'm going to keep telling y'all the same thing. Now, for me, this is how I feel when celebrities get called out, or whoever, for something they have said. This is the wrong way to respond to people calling out, even if it's an old thing. They have every right to bring it up. They have every right to keep bringing it up. And honestly, all you gotta do is just not respond to it. Because you have apologized, you've said your piece, you said the things, you might have moved on, but people don't have to forgive you. People do not have to forgive me for past things I've said. People don't have to, but what matters is, if you have changed as a person, has the politic changed? People who've been following me a while online know, girl, I used to be getting it in, dragging, I did not care. And some of the stuff I really regret, like, I was like, I wish I would have said that. I wish I would have did that. I wish I would have reacted to that differently. But I was also operating in some extreme anti-blackness that I didn't understand at the time. Some misogyny, definitely was dabbling in that. And misogynoir, like how I critique black women was very, like, it was very specific and it was like not needed. And I definitely have talked about that, like I'm talking about in this video, and I definitely will continue to, you know, do the work to educate folks who are doing the same thing. I just spent 30 minutes the other day sitting down with a friend who was in my house because he had made a comment about like pronouns being a weird thing, and I like spent 20-30 minutes. My close friend can testify and say I spent 30 minutes like letting him know that this is not it. This is the work. This is very serious and dear and to my heart, because I remember when I was operating not just in anti-blackness, but just the fact that I didn't want to listen to anybody. I was like, girl, this is what it is, da 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 da. But the moment I started to listen to people and understand where it was coming from, it just made everything so easy for me, because it's like, why am I holding on to this? Why do I want this to be a thing? Why am I so, like, what's the tea? And then I had to look into myself. So Queen Naija responding to it and saying that, you know, I've apologized, I've addressed it, is extremely dismissive of the stuff that she's done. Like, you were on a YouTube channel that was getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. You had a big platform and you were saying some stuff that was harmful to dark-skinned black girls. Like, you were out here telling your story. And just because you didn't know what you said was harmful doesn't take away that it was harmful. Because you had dark-skinned black girls who were watching you, who were subscribed to your channel, who was listening to you, and I guarantee you probably made them feel some type of way. So I'm not gonna say we don't know, I can't say if you bully somebody or not, but if you are having those viewpoints on a public platform like that, you probably have said that in passing with friends and not knowing it. Like, girl, listen, I used to say things that were not, like making jokes about like people living with HIV, not specific people, but the comments that I made about HIV were not it. And a close friend had to pull me to the side and say, hey girl, this is not it. And I made those comments, like probably 1 or 2 jokes on YouTube, but I was also doing it to a place where I made a friend, a close friend, uncomfortable about them disclosing their status to me. So this is the work. This is why I'm doing my stuff now, because I want to change the minds of folks. I want to educate folks, and I want them to know, like, hey girl, this is why this is important. Like, we need to be doing this work as a community to uplift and better our community for the future generations and the generation that is now. So just seeing how she responded, and people were saying, oh, you know, Queen Naija has apologized, she's moved on, she's doing bigger and better things, da da da. And that's not the point. I'm not sure if Queen Naija has changed behavior. That's getting to the change behavior situation, because people say, oh, well, you know, the best apology is change behavior. We don't know what, you know, Queen Naija's politic is when it comes to colorism and texturism. She's not out here having whole conversations about this. She's not dissecting it. She's not out here, you know, talking about it. So we don't know where she's at. She might just now be silent. She might just be silent. And I think that's what happens with some folks, is we think that a person has this new politic, and like, okay girl, this is how they definitely don't think this, but it's just, they might just not be saying anything. I mean, look at all the other celebrities who have slipped up and said some stuff, and it's just like, oh girl, what was going on? Like they were really saying that because it's natural. That's how they view things. And it just so happened to creep out. So I'm not in community with Queen Naija, so I don't know how she feels. I'm hoping, and I will hope, that she does understand how colorism is. But looking at this tweet and this response, it's telling me that I don't think she understood the harm that she did cause. It's just like, girl, we are moving on from this. I'm not talking about this no more, and da da da. And I know that's not how she sounded, but that's what people are perceiving, watching, like looking at this tweet. That's how they're perceiving it, as it's dismissive. I never bullied anybody. I apologized. I addressed it. No, girl. Unfortunately, when you do harm like that, you have to always apologize for it. That's the least you can do. That's the least. I don't care if somebody pull up my stuff. I'm not just gonna respond to it, because at this point in my career and on my brand online or whatever, people know what the tea is. People who watch me know what the tea is. Because this is something I've been actively talking about for years. So they've been able to see the changed behavior. Just me being off the cuff and just talking on a live or whatever, it's not a performance for me. If I see colorism, if I see texture, if I see misogyny war when it comes to black women, I'm calling it out. Point blank period, because not only is what I'm saying online changed, but the politic that I hold when it comes to anti-blackness has changed completely. Like, it's changed completely. And we're not in community with Queen Naija, so we don't know. So if Queen Naija is saying that she's apologized and people are not getting it, maybe the apology wasn't enough and you need to do more work for folks to be able to understand that you are not the person who was saying those comments years ago. That's what you need to do at this point. I don't think that Queen Naija is a bad person. I do think it's a lot, you know, for her to be dealing with all of this stuff online, like every week. Like, yeah, some of us think it's funny, like, oh my gosh, Queen Naija is responsible for this Will Smith and Chris Rock situation. You know, she is laughing it off. But we don't know what she's dealing with at home. We don't know what she's dealing with. That's a lot, like, girl, like, God dang, like, even though she gets a lot, she just tweeted and said she's going to perform and sing the national anthem at this basketball game or whatever. She is doing things. She has the money to be able to disconnect from this stuff. Like, girl, I ain't got to be on here. I'm out here getting booked and business. I ain't got to do none of this stuff. But she is still a human being at the end of the day. And for her to say, you know, luckily I'm built for this. Queen Naija, you're not built for this. You're not built for this because you are a human, and harassment and bullying that you're experiencing, you know, from some of these people online is a lot. Like, it is a lot, and it's too much, and they are wrong for it. Some of them are wrong for it, but some of them are right for calling you out. And I'm gonna take this back to what my girl For Harriet said, Kim Foster over at For Harriet. She posted on her Instagram, and it really struck with me. And she said that sometimes the haters are right. Sometimes the haters are right. Sometimes the folks who hate, sometimes they right. And that's something I've thought about. Like, sometimes the haters do be right. And sometimes I listen to the haters and I'll be taking notes. You be like, girl, you know what? You right about that. And honestly, to share a moment, I talked to, I cannot pronounce her name. I'm not Yvonne Orji from Insecure. We had a panel thing with her with YouTube a couple of, what was it, like a year or so ago. And I asked her, how is she able to tell the difference between criticism and hatred? Like, how are you? Because that's something that I've always thought about is, some of these comments are right. Like, some of the girls, some of the stuff they say, I'm like, girl, I definitely need to improve on that. I definitely need to work on that. The girls drag me about my skin. They said, girl, she got AIDS. Like, girl, her forehead messed up. She must be breaking out and not knowing when I was positive, if I was born with HIV or what, not knowing anything. They just assumed that since I had came out, that was the reason why my skin was breaking out. But my skin was breaking out because I just wasn't doing a good skin regimen. And thanks to my girl over at Asia Rose, I'm able to now have beautiful, like, skin that's moisturized and it's giving. But, like, girl, the harassment that Queen Naija is experiencing, some of it is, you know, a lot of it is hatred, but some of it is legit criticism. And I think that she needs to do a better job of just, like, seeing what people are like telling the difference between what is accurate and what is just like shit that needs to be ignored. Like, stuff that needs to be ignored, because I'm not seeing her do no real work and, like, changing like, letting us know that her perception and how she thinks about colorism has changed. And I like Queen Naija. I've listened to her songs. I don't think she's the bad person. I don't think she's the bad person at all. And I wouldn't mind having a conversation with her and explaining this in depth. Like, I honestly want, specifically black folks, I don't want to cast them away. I don't want to throw them away. Some of y'all probably do need to be thrown away. But I don't think Queen Naija is one of them folks. I do want black folks to understand, like, girl, we're all in this community together. We are all learning from stuff that was taught to us from somewhere else. Like, girl, we're growing up in a world that is anti-black. So it's not crazy and unheard of for us to be participating in anti-blackness. But what happens is when black folks are called on it, like, and called out for it, we got to understand, like, we got to do the work, girl, because, you know, maybe that stuff can't, maybe I haven't. Maybe I'm not saying anything about nappy head, dark skinned girls again, but maybe I still am holding on to that because it is some work. It is some work. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, girl. I can give you plenty of examples of stuff that I've experienced. I be questioning myself, girl, this is the anti-blackness in me kicking out because, girl, we all have some level of internalized anti-blackness in us because we live in an anti-black world. But the work is us understanding, like saying, hey girl, let me make sure this is not that. We have to think about it. So I enjoyed this conversation. Y'all know how I feel about colorism. I've always knew what colorism was from a very, very early age. And I thank my mother for that because my mother was a dark-skinned black woman, and her experiences and also my experiences, like family and just between family was enough for me to understand that, oh girl, being darker comes with some other stuff. Like, it comes with some other stuff. But I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm glad we were able to have it. You all comment below. Tell what you think about it. Do you think Queen Naija has changed? Do you think that she needs to do more to show us, to show like folks like, hey girl, I am not that person? Like, do you think we need to get like some type of something for us to be like, okay, you know, even though she's apologized, I want her to have a real discussion about it and to realize, like, hey girl, has you changed? Because I think what's going on now is celebrities need to understand that the world is changing. We want to know not just are you talented, but you got to make sure that your politic is giving. Because I'm not going to be out here supporting folks who don't even believe in people like me. That's how I feel. I don't want to be giving my coin to somebody who's an abuser. I don't want to be giving my coin to somebody who's transphobic. I don't want to be giving my coin to somebody who's a colorist. I just don't want to do that. So if I can keep from doing that, I will. So artists going to have to be able to, like, girl, I don't know. It's a complicated thing. We'll get to that. But tell what y'all thought about it, and I'll talk y'all later.